everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to my intro video for my 2023 Pan Those Eyeshadows project pan. This is by far my favorite project pan to film because we have so much fun with it because of the little random selection portion of this. But before we jump in, let me quickly explain to you how this project pan works. So the goal of this project is to hit more pan in your eyeshadow collection, which basically means using your eyeshadow enough to hit the little tin pan at the bottom of it. And sometimes that's really hard to do, especially if you're kind of mixing and matching with all your different palettes, or sometimes you end up just focusing on like one palette or one type of color story and you really don't explore all the different colors in your collection, which I feel like that tends to be me. Like if I wasn't doing this project, I tend to kind of focus mostly towards neutrals and I wouldn't branch out and explore a lot of the different options across all my different palettes. And I feel like if you're gonna buy palettes, you gotta dive into that. And so this project kind of pushes me out of my comfort zone. And the way that it does that is you only work on a certain amount of eyeshadows at once. So I like to choose 5 eyeshadows to work on at a time, and you randomly select one. So behind me, I have a spreadsheet up on my computer that lists all the eyeshadows in my collection, and I pull up an app on my phone and I randomly select eyeshadows. So at the beginning of this project, so this video, I'm gonna randomly select 5 different eyeshadows, but then as soon as I hit pan on them, I roll them out of this project and I roll a new one in, and that's another random selection as well. And so last year I hit 7 pans of eyeshadow in this project, which was super exciting for me. And so I'd like to up that this year. Similar to my regular project pan, I don't have a specific number I'd love to hit, but I'd like it to be more than 7. So if I hit 8 pans this year, I'd be super excited. And so that's kind of how this project works. I like to track how many times I'm using an eyeshadow, as well as show you progress clips along the way. So if any of that's of interest to you, please stick around because this video will be really fun because we'll be actually selecting the 5 pans of eyeshadow that I'll be using. But before we touch on that, since I did mention I have a spreadsheet behind me, I do have numbers that I'd like to touch on. They haven't changed since my December update or my last year's finale, but I do think they're important to mention, especially if you're just coming into this video in 2023. So right now in my collection, I have 213 eyeshadows. 15 of them are single eyeshadows, and then 198 of them are across 11 different palettes. I have 23 eyeshadows that I've hit pan on, which brings my pan percentage in my collection to 10.8%, which I'm super proud of. My goal last year was 10%, so I was really happy with 10.8%. And that leaves me with 190 eyeshadows that are eligible for me to select for this project. Obviously, with hitting more pans of eyeshadow, I'd obviously like to see that pan percentage go up, but we do have to also factor in that I might want to buy new eyeshadows this year, and so that could bring the pan percentage down. So I don't at this current moment have a goal for pan percentage. I keep thinking in my mind 15%, but we're not that far off from that. We're only about 4% away from that, so maybe that's too low. I'm not sure. So we're gonna see, maybe go through a couple months of the project, see how we're doing, and then maybe I'll set a goal for that. So without further ado, I think we can go ahead and select the eyeshadows that we'd like to be pulling into this project, which I'm super excited to do. I love this so much. I have way too much fun with this. All right, let's do it. So we got 72, 104, 68, 186, 208. I also forgot to mention, which now I think is important to mention, seeing the colors that I just drew. I also allowed myself to have a little bit of an out last year, and I think I'm gonna carry that over to this year, and that is if I've used an eyeshadow for at least 20 times, so I have to use it 20 times or more, and I don't think I'm gonna hit pan, or I just don't really have any desire to hit pan, I haven't been enjoying using it, I can roll it out anytime after that 20 uses point. That'll become relevant when I show you the eyeshadows that I selected. The first 2 actually both come from my Morphe Jaclyn Hill palette. The first one that I selected is this shade right here called Diva. So I think this will be a really fun one. This is like a sparkly green. I'm really excited to try that. It even has like kind of like a gray twist. So definitely something new and different, very different than any shade that I worked on last year. So I was really excited to see that one get selected. The next shade from this palette that also was selected is this one right here. And this is the shade Abyss, which is basically a black. And I had a black in my Pan Those Eyeshadows last year, which was great, like if you were using it to line or anything like that, like mostly just lining. But to be honest, like it's really hard to hit pan on a black eyeshadow unless you're doing like smoky eyes every day. And so I think this one might be where my 20 uses come into play. But either way, I will get at least 20 uses on this one, which was more than I probably would have if it wasn't in this project. The next shade comes from my ABH Jackie Aina palette. It is another shimmer, and it is the shade right here called Lituation, which I'm super excited about. This seems like another really pretty shimmer to work on. I worked on Sponsor last year and hit pan pretty quickly, so hopefully I can get some work done on Lituation this year. But another different shade, such a different color story already than what I was working on last year, and I felt last year just continued to feel like the same colors kept getting chosen. I'm really excited about seeing all of these different shades on here. All right, next shade comes from my Morphe Volume 2 palette, and it is the shade Good Place. So this is, again, another shimmer, and it is a purple. So we are really like going big, I feel like, with the different colors this year, which again, like I said, I think is super fun. I think will probably be more challenging, but oh wow, like that looks really purple in the pan, but is coming across on the camera way more pink. In real life, it's kind of pink, kind of purple. So that's kind of fun, definitely different. And then the last shade actually comes from a newer palette to me. I purchased this palette last year. This is the ABH Novu palette, and the shade that was selected is, once again, another shimmer, and it is the shade Belle. Wow, these, oh my gosh, these shimmers from the Novu palette are stunning, and that is just like so creamy, so beautiful. So really excited to try that one out. I thought it was gonna kind of look like Lituation, which it does a little bit, but it definitely has a different tone. So super excited about that one. These are my 5 eyeshadows. I am kind of shocked. Like the color story is so different than what I had last year. And last year, like I said, kind of just continued to repeat like the same colors and over again. It always kind of had that like sunset look vibe. This is obviously very different. A lot of shimmers, like the only matte in here is the black, which is actually perfect because I rolled a crease shade into my regular project pan. So that actually is working out really well for me. So wow, I am so excited by this color story. I definitely have a challenge coming up because in the next part of the video coming up, I'm going to be applying all 5 of these shades to my lids. So I think that could be a little challenging. I see how like some of them could work really well together, but I'm curious to see how they all pair together. But it will be a fun little challenge, and I'm so excited about my new color story. Definitely stay tuned. I'll talk to you in like 2 seconds, and we'll be putting all of these shades on my eye and seeing how they work together. Hello, good morning. I am here and I actually have coffee this morning. I feel like I never drink coffee. Well, I don't feel like I like never drink coffee, but occasionally I do when I want a little treat. And because we have a milk frother, so I froth my whole milk, my son's whole milk, so it's like decadent, with a little bit of the brown sugar creamer from Trader Joe's. It's so good. I think I just like the froth milk versus the actual coffee, but cheers. But anyway, I am here today because it's the morning and I'm getting ready, and I'm gonna use all 5 of my new eyeshadows from my Pan Those Eyeshadows project, and I'm so excited because I have not worn all 5 of these shades together yet, and I'm just really looking forward to seeing how the look comes together. I'm just like really excited about the color palette in general. It's so different than what I was working on like last year. And so I'm just really looking forward to trying out a bunch of different looks. Today, I'm actually gonna use some tape because I do wanna use the black as kind of like a little bit of a liner. And sometimes I just like the way that looks when it's done with tape. So not the best for your eyes. Don't really recommend doing this all the time, but sometimes it helps with the getting a really nice sharp line, which is kind of what I was going for. So I just primed. I'm gonna real quick just powder on top of that primer, just so we're starting not from like a super like sticky base. I honestly have like no idea what I'm going to do here. I know that I want to do like the black liner because I have a black, so that seemed like pretty easy and basic. But other than that, I'm like, oh boy, haven't thought much about it. I am going to start with a crease shade, so I'm actually going to pull in my eyeshadow that's in my regular project pan. This is my Creme Brulee Makeup Geek eyeshadow. So I definitely need to repress this, I think. I'm just going to get this into the crease. And we are going to start with Belle. I'm actually gonna pick this up on a brush because I want to put it in my inner corner, and I have Gel X extensions on, and so my nails are sometimes hard to like get right in the inner corner, so I'm gonna try it with a brush first and see if we can do it. I might have to end up just picking it up with my finger if, oh, no. Oh, looks great. Okay. I keep getting like more and more impressed by this palette. Okay, so that I'm hoping is going to fade into Good Place from my Morphe Volume 2 palette with Jaclyn Hill. I'm just gonna put that in the center of my lid. And then I'm going to grab Lituation from my ABH Jackie Aina palette and put that on the outer half. I feel like Lituation and Belle are kind of similar colors. So now I know that they're not, like obviously like the tones are different, but I feel like they play well together. I feel like we've lost some of Good Place, but honestly I'm okay with that just because it's a little loud. So I'm okay that it's kind of blending into this look a little bit more. I think normally I'd probably go back in and add that back, but I like how it's kind of blending in. So we're gonna go with it as it is. I am going to pick up Abyss from my Morphe Jaclyn Hill palette. That is the black shade. And I'm going to run this on my upper lid from about the center of the lid and then out to wing it. And this is where the tape comes into play because it does the work for you. Now I'm going to pick up a liner brush. It's like really skinny liner brush and go back into Abyss and just kind of fade it out up on my lower, like on my upper lash line. That brush was like thick. It's kind of like a harsh stop. So I'm just gonna take it down really quickly. We just have one last shade. So it's this shade, which now I'm blanking on the name of it. It's Diva. And I'm going to grab that on an inner corner brush and put this on my inner corner. Which it's like a green eyeshadow, so that's kind of interesting. We're going for it today. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do some more of the rest of my makeup and then I'll be back to finish the lower lash line. I'm back, I have my black liner and I'm going to pop this in the waterline. I'm also going to tight line. I think I'm just going to blend that out with Creme Brulee. Feel like I have a lot going on my eyes right now and I don't really want to do anything crazy on the lower lash line. I was thinking about maybe like copying what was above down below, but it felt like a lot. So we're just gonna blend. Not loving the inner corner being that Diva shade. I like really like that. I think it would be awesome used all over the lid, but it's like throwing me off in the inner corner. So I'm gonna grab my Urban Decay Highlight in Sin and just kind of put some of that on top of it. I'm hoping that this mellows out the green a little. Yeah, that didn't exactly work how I wanted it to work. I think we just have to chalk it up to like not loving it. I'm gonna throw on some mascara. Hopefully that helps a little bit and then we can see the final look. All right, everyone, so this is the final look with all 5 shades. I am so excited about this color story. Like I said, I don't necessarily love the inner corner, but just in general, I'm so excited to use these shadows in different capacities. Maybe not all together again, but just in different ways to try to make them work. I'm so excited about all of them, and I think a lot of the shimmers can be just worn all over the lid with a crease shade, so just thrilled by that. Really excited about having a black in this actually. I know that they're really hard to hit pan on, so I'm not sure if I'm going for pan or maybe usage, but so excited about just being able to throw on a winged liner like I did today. Like loved being able to use it for that. So yeah, I'm really excited about this project. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you in my next one. Bye.